Hello everyone, it is Marc Berman from TV Media Insights. It is Wednesday, July 31st. I would like to welcome you back to our daily video cast where I have a very special guest who's busy looking at his, what do you call
Mark,
those?
I'm looking at the Showtime folks gave us this Masters of Sex Viewmaster. And these pictures are very dull. There's no naked women.
There's no naked people on there.
No,
it's very disappointing. Well, you're Bill Brioux.
I still am, yes.
You're still Bill. Now tell the audience who you are, please.
Well, my name is Bill Brioux.
Right.
I write about television from north of the border and write for the Canadian Press and some other folks, and I've been doing it for many years and had the pleasure of sharing a podium or two with Mark here over the years.
Yes, we have. We have. We had some really good times in Toronto.
Yes.
I'm always ready to come back.
Oh, me too.
Nobody's asking, but if anyone out there is in Toronto or any part of Canada, I would like to come back, or anywhere. But listen, I want to talk about the press tour. We're kind of like sort of near the halfway point, not yet. But you did something on Saturday that to me was the highlight to date of this tour, and I can guarantee will be the highlight for me for the entire tour. You want to tell everybody what you did?
Well, thank you very much. What I did was I collect 16mm films, and they're films of TV shows generally, and I had some old prints of fall preview reels that back in the 70s, CBS, other networks would show at their upfronts, and they basically would just be like it is today. Here's our 5 new shows. And so the one I showed on Sunday was the 1974 CBS fall preview reel. And I was relying heavily on you because each one that came up, I asked Mark, well, what night was that on and what came on before and after? And of course, Mark knew it all off the top of his head. So that was fun. But it's part of an initiative I've started in Canada to try to archive and just hunt down lost television, especially Canadian networks did a very poor job archiving their collections, their inventory. A lot of it's gone. And so, but as you know, that there's somewheres in attics and basements, and this guy was once on a TV show, and the director and editor has a print. So we're trying to locate these films before they all disappear.
Well, I have to say, it was interesting of that fall season on CBS. I think there were 5 new series. Only one of them made it into a second season. It ultimately lasted 4.5 seasons. That was Rhoda with Valerie Harper. And you had really cool footage of her that we had never seen before.
It was interesting.
Promoting the show. Yeah. But, Rhoda lasted. It was the Mary Tyler Moore spinoff. She won an Emmy that first season. She went from supporting actress to lead actress, won an Emmy. Great show. I can go on and on, but I won't bore you.
No, it's not boring.
This is the coolest stuff. So let's talk. We got past the CW and Showtime. We are now, we've had CBS here, we've had NBC here, we've had cable here.
We had an airplane here today.
We had an airplane. Tell everybody about that. That was so interesting.
We went out to lunch. We're outside at the right here at the Beverly Hilton, and there's usually you're wondering, what's the buzz this year at the press tour? Well, the buzz was overhead. It was an airplane spinning around with a big banner saying, "Save the Borgias," and they're trying to get David Nevin's attention to save this show that was shot in Hungary. They might as well have been flying over in Europe. But it was kind of comical, and that was what that was.
Well, I had said, I'm sitting there eating lunch and thinking, what fan has the money to hire a plane to do this? And somebody said, it must have been Jeremy Irons who's the star of the Borgias, trying to get his show back. But that was very interesting. That was really cool. But, has anything really stood out as being, wow, this was really good?
In terms of a TV show?
A TV show, anything. I mean, in terms of we've seen a lot of different panels. Anything that looks like can't miss to you?
Well, the one we just came from, Masters of Sex on Showtime, that was a great panel. They're very articulate.
Right.
You could have walked into that panel, and if Robin Williams had been in Masters of Sex, we would have just laughed for 40 minutes.
Right.
Which would have been fine. But the Brits on the panel, the actor who played... oh my goodness! He's been in all kinds of movies.
I know who you're talking about.
Michael there. But anyway, they were. It was. They were all very articulate, and it was a very adult panel. So we didn't turn into 7-year-olds. There were. You couldn't even tweet funny things because these guys kept the lid on all of that. But I'm intrigued by that show. It's a 10-part series, I think.
I think it's 10 parts.
Coming up.
Have you seen it yet?
I haven't.
I haven't seen it either. But speaking of Robin Williams, since you mentioned him, I thought the session on the Crazy Ones on CBS was one of the better sessions.
You're right.
He could tear a house down, anything down. Unfortunately, that pilot was blah. Did you like that pilot? Did you see it yet?
You're right. You're absolutely
Awful,
right.
Really bad.
But you knew that the session was going to be better than the pilot.
Of course,
show,
he was going crazy. He was doing his shtick, and they kind of like let him loose a little bit on the pilot, but I don't think they know what to do with him.
Right.
And I always say a pilot is a pilot. It's one episode. You have to give a show time. You have to let it find itself. But in this day and age, if you don't come out of the gate really top notch, there really aren't any second chances. It's not like the old days where you could say, oh, let's revamp the show and come back, which has been done many times with a lot of different series.
Well, last night at the CBS party, they had the big party up on the roof of the parking lot across the street, and Ted Danson was there. And I said to him, my goodness, things have changed since that first season of Cheers when it was, what was it, number 83 out of 83 shows?
It was right on the bottom.
Yeah, and NBC renewed it because they didn't have anything. And lo and behold, Cheers is one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time. So that could never happen today.
That could never happen today, and I'll tell you how dumb Mr. TV is. When I say Mr. TV, that's me. I was living in L.A. at the time. Now, I like television, so I used to go to all the TV show tapings. I remember at that time I'd go on a Friday night, One Day at a Time, The Facts Are Live, Happy Days, Three's Company. The list went on and on. WKRP in Cincinnati, Too Close for Comfort. I mean, I went to everything. And then there was a show called Cheers that was debuting on NBC in the fall. And I was moving back to New York, and somebody said, why don't we go see Cheers? I have 2 tickets. And I said, well, a show set in a bar is not going to work. Hello? Well, let's see. 11 seasons. How many Emmys? Frasier went on for 11 seasons.
You know what? I lived briefly in L.A. for a couple of years in the 80s, and I didn't go to a taping of Cheers, but I saw a taping of a spin-off of Cheers.
Was it Tortelli?
Yes, absolutely.
Bad show.
It was a terrible show.
Bad.
But it was shot at the same soundstage, and all those guys were in it. It was
Jean Kasem was the wife.
Jean Kasem was the wife.
And Nick, the one who played Nick Tortelli on Cheers, which was Carla's ex-husband, and they were living in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And let's see if I remember where it aired. Guess what I remember? It was Wednesday at 9:30, and it lasted 13 painful weeks. Bad. But you know what's funny? A lot of these classic comedies, and we could go on with this for hours, and we won't, but we could. So many of them, like, you had, Cheers had Frasier, wonderful show, but the Tortellis, some of them, had, MASH, Trappage on MD lasted for, quite a while.
Yeah.
8 seasons, 7 seasons, and then you had After MASH. And then Mary, of course, had Lou Grant, Phyllis, and the Merits, and Rhoda. But Phyllis only lasted 2 seasons.
No, I mean... and then All in the Family, of course. You know the 5...
Yes, let's go through it. Why don't we start? Okay, and then we're going to clear up a misconception right now about this. It's a very good point. The first spin-off from All in the Family was Maude. Okay. Now, Maude spun off Good Times, but Good Times is not a spin-off of All in the Family because it came from Maude. So technically, Good Times is the grandchild of All in the Family. Then you had The Jeffersons, which lasted do you know how long that lasted?
The Jeffersons?
Yes.
8 seasons?
10.5 seasons.
Oh my goodness.
258 episodes. How do you like that?
That's amazing.
Then you had, and a lot of people don't think this is a spinoff, but technically I call it a spinoff, Archie Bunker's Place.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's an extension of that show, but they changed the name.
Right.
It's kind of like After MASH.
Sort of like After, but it lasted 4 seasons. You want to tell everyone what the 4th one was?
It was The Address, wasn't it?
Well, The Address was the 5th one, 704 Hauser, which nobody but you and I will remember. And Bob Ingersoll and Jerry Bixenspan, who every day get the trivia correct. Do you remember what was in between?
I do. Gloria.
Yes, Gloria. Yes. And who was Gloria's boss on that? Do you remember? And I'll give you a hint.
Ishkabibble?
Ishkabibble, no. Quack. Who was her boss? Quack.
Charlie Callis.
No, he had a problem on the Twilight Zone when he broke his glasses.
Oh my goodness, Burgess Meredith?
Burgess Meredith, the Penguin, was Gloria's boss. Wow. The Penguin, she was working in upstate New York. Bad show.
It was a bad show.
So we've gone from current day conversation at the press tour to nostalgia. Maybe, I'll be here for like another 10 days. I'd love to have you come back if you're around.
Anytime. I'm here till the 7th.
And we will put this out to any of the audience. Bill and I are a team. We will be happy to do a presentation wherever you want us. Do you know that I think it was 3 years ago after the press tour, I went to Honolulu?
Yeah. Very nice. No,
yes. Why haven't they asked me back? I would be happy to come back.
I'd carry the bags,
Carry the bags?
Sure.
Well, thank you very much, Bill, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure,
you can
Mark.
go back to your Viewfinder now.
Masters of Sex.
Masters of Sex. But anyway, thank you very much. Have a great day. I'll be back with more news about my favorite medium, television, on Thursday. Take care. Bye.